didn't care. Now you tell me everything will work out fine. Somewhere down the line. Now you're talking about the face I used to wear. Then you change around and talk over there. Now you tell me everything will work out fine. Somewhere down the line. Somewhere down the line. All of my dreaming drifted away. Can't stop tomorrow, live for today. Just drifting away.
I'll just drink a couple of beers, man.
Can't stop tomorrow, live for today.
Can you get more
We were talking about the times we used to share, when we didn't have a dime and we didn't care. Now you tell me somewhere down the line. Somewhere down the line. Somewhere down the line. Thank you. Thanks for coming out and seeing me on the school.
One full beer.
How many of you have seen that Kevin Costner movie about baseball, that film called Bull Durham?
Yeah.
Yeah? Well, this next song appears in that movie, the barroom sequence. That film about minor league baseball. We were asked by the film company if we would let them include this next song on the soundtrack album. And we declined because I got a good look at the movie before it was released, and I thought it was a stinker. I thought it wasn't going to be a hit. So anyway, we released this next song on our own, and it went to #1 on the rock radio charts. It's called Only a Memory, and the album went gold, which is like 500,000 copies. Unfortunately for me, we didn't include it on the soundtrack for Bull Durham, which sold like 7 million copies. So what do I know? Anyway, this was on our second Capitol Records release, the album called Green Thoughts, and I'll do a song for you the way I wrote it. It's called Only a Memory. Your mind is filled with thoughts of you. I think about the days of two. Search the room, but you're not there. Your perfume lingers everywhere, but it's only a memory of what our love is going to be. Only a memory, working bits like you and me. Only a memory. Las Vegas rocks. Thank you. You got married, huh? I don't know, should I tell stories or do requests? What would you like tonight? Oh my God, stories. I got a little story. Sure. You know, I was born and raised in New Jersey, and I still live in my hometown. It's a little place called Scotch Plains, New Jersey. And I'm in deep shit. I'm a 55-year-old divorced father of a 16-year-old daughter, living in a 165-year-old house with my 80-year-old mother. You met my mother, right? Anyway, you know, I was a garbage collector till I was 31 years old, till the Smithereens got their foot in the door of a career. And so after laboring for 6 years in total obscurity, playing every bar and nightclub for no money whatsoever in the greater New York metropolitan area. Yeah. All of a sudden we're overnight successes, you know? We've got a #1 with a song called Blood and Roses from our first album, especially for you. And Blood and Roses, #1. Rapidly approaching another song with a creepy horror movie title, a song called Behind the Wall of Sleep. Yeah, Blood and Roses, Behind the Wall of Sleep. From a band called the Smithereens, who got their name from something that a character in the old Bugs Bunny cartoons used to say. It was a little pirate guy named Yosemite Sam, and he'd be blazing away at Bugs Bunny trying to kill him. Those 6-shooters, and he'd say, "I'll blow your varmints to smithereens." So that's where we got the name from. No meaning than that. Now, of course,
I was actually running last night.
Yosemite Sam, like so many of us today, so many Americans, is no longer gainfully employed. He doesn't work in the motion picture business anymore. But he has a part-time gig. You can see him in the back of cars on mud flaps all across America. And he's a little bit more politically correct because he doesn't say, I'll blow your varmints to smithereens anymore. He says, back off. Come on, this is good shit. So anyway, a lot of you are too young to remember this, but in 1986, there was no thing called the internet. It didn't exist. If it did, nobody knew about it. There were no cell phones. There was nothing. There was no technology, no pagers, no iPads, whatever it is that we have today. Cable TV was in its infancy. Nobody made long-distance phone calls. Nobody had the money. Nobody had credit cards. Credit cards were not widely used back then. And it was a different time altogether. The height of technology, I think, was the telephone answering machine. You know what I mean? Because you could screen your calls in case some pain in the ass that you didn't want to talk to was trying to bother you. You owed somebody money, you could avoid them. And so basically, back then, if the phone rang at 2 o'clock in the morning, what did it mean? Those of you old enough. It meant somebody got hurt or somebody had died, something bad happened. So I'm sitting in my apartment in New York City that I still have, and it's literally the size of the bathroom. It's really small. If you get two people in there for more than 10 minutes, the temperature goes up like 40 degrees. And you try to kill each other because you just want to survive. Who's gonna wind up breathing, still standing on their feet? So in any event, I'm in this apartment, and we're about to embark upon our first tour, opening for our rock and roll heroes, the band called the Ramones. Remember the Ramones? And like I said, I was a garbage man until I was 31, an Italian-American kid from Jersey in the garbage business. You ever seen that show, The Sopranos? Did that make it out here to Vegas? Who knows that show? Anybody? All right. You ever see Tony Soprano's mother? That's my mom. So the phone rings at 2 in the morning. We're on the charts. We're about to go on the road with the Ramones. Blood and Roses, Behind the Wall of Sleep. Out of nowhere, the Smithereens from New Jersey. My parents couldn't give a shit. They didn't care. They didn't listen to the radio. They didn't watch television. They didn't know. It's like, somebody said, what's Patrick doing? My mother would say, I don't know. He's got that goddamn band. He's wasted his time. He's a bum. So the phone rings and it's my mother. Patrick! Patty! I'm already 31 years old, right? Patty! It's Mommy. Mom, what's wrong? Is Dad okay? Nothing. Patrick, Aunt Florence called. Son, you're in the TV guide. You made it. So that was the criteria by which our parents judged our success. It didn't matter, we were on the radio. Aunt Florence called, we got positive affirmation. Patty's in the TV guide. So my mother said, do you have the TV guide there? I said, yeah. She goes, read it, page 27, left column. Aunt Florence had briefed her completely. So I began to read to my mother what's in the TV guide. And I already know what's there, but I hadn't read it yet. NBC television, 1 a.m., Tuesday, July 2nd, 1986. Channel 4, The David Brenner Show. Remember David Brenner, the comedian? The Graveyard Shift, 1 a.m. The David Brenner Show. David's guests tonight include the actress Jane Seymour. And making their national television debut from New Jersey, Powered Popsters, the Smithereens, performing their hits, Bread and Roses. And Behind the Wall, Asleep. So no matter how far you get in life, somebody's gonna. Just to set the record straight, I will now do Behind the Wall, Asleep. And, make a note of this, a mental note. It's in the key of P minor, which myself and many others consider to be the saddest key of all.
It is, without a doubt, the saddest.
I love that key.
She had hair like J.D. Shilton back in 1965. She had things that never ended. I was halfway paralyzed. She was tall and cool and pretty. She dressed as black as gold. If she asked me to outwit her, I would gladly lose my soul. Now I lie in bed and think of her. Sometimes I even weep. Then I dream of her behind the wall of sleep. Well, she held bass guitar. She was playing in a band, and she stood just like Bill Monroe. Now I am her biggest fan. Now I know I'm one of many who would like to be your friend, and I've got to find a way to let you know I'm not like that. Now I lie in bed and think of her. Sometimes I even weep when I dream of her behind the wall of sleep. Now I lie in bed and think of her. Sometimes I even weep. Then I dream of her behind the wall of sleep. Got your number from a friend of mine who lives in your hometown. Calls you up to have a drink. Your roommate said you were around. Now I know I'm one of many who would like to be your friend, and I just got to find a way to let you know I'm not like that. Now I lie in bed and think of her. Sometimes I even weep. Then I dream of her behind the wall of sleep. 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 Thank you very much. There's no kids in the audience, are there?
No.
Because I tell stories, but sometimes there's language that some people might find offensive. Is there a law against that?
No!
You're in
So
Vegas.
where's Roxy? Is it okay? All right. So anyway, we go on tour with the Ramones, right? The first show is at the Chestnut Cabaret in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. And I've died and gone to rock and roll heaven. We're opening for our heroes. But we were read the riot act by their tour manager, Monty, before the tour started. He lined us up against the wall. He said, now listen, Smithereens, we're the Ramones and you're nothing. You understand me? He goes, you do what we tell you to do. You don't touch their equipment, you don't talk to them, You play a half an hour, you get off the stage, no encore. You don't drink their beer, you don't go in their dressing room, nothing. Or you're off this fucking tour. So we did a half an hour. And the kids are stage diving off our stage, right? All of a sudden, wow, it's a glimpse of something wonderful, you know? We worked our whole lives toward this moment. So the second night, we're down in Baltimore at a place called Hammerjack. Same thing is going on. The kids are stage diving during our show. By the third show, Monty, the Ramones tour manager, walks up to us, and this is down in Virginia Beach, down near Norfolk, Virginia. It's a place called the Boathouse. It was this enormous place that was filled with kids. And Monty, the tour manager, comes up to us. He says, Smithereens, I think you guys are okay. The Ramones have requested that you join them for beers at the Holiday Inn Lounge after the show. Big fucking spenders, right? The Ramones. So we meet them at the bar, the Holiday Inn, where we're all staying. And we're drinking Budweisers because it was an early show. We're just piling it up. And the poor guy behind the bar is a World War II vet, bless his heart. And he's got a crew cut, thinning on the top, steely gray hair, and he's got a kind of Jim Blossom nose, and he hates all of us. We wear motorcycle jackets, he hates rock and roll. It's like he fought the war. He went to Iwo Jima to give birth to the Ramones and the Smithereens, right? He fucking hates us, right? So, in any event, he keeps looking at the clock. He's waiting for it. You know, he's waiting for the end of the evening. He's looking at the clock, and we're drinking, and we're drinking, and we're drinking. Finally, it's 10 minutes to 1 in Norfolk, Virginia. He looks at the clock, and then he looks at Joey Ramone, who's sitting at the bar next to me, and Jimmy from the Smithereens. And Joey was a nice man, a very nice man, but he was a strange-looking man. He was really, really tall. He was like 6'7" or something. He was always hunched over when he had to talk to you. You never saw his eyes. He always had these rose-colored sunglasses on. His hair was in his face. And when he bent down to talk to you, he looked like a human praying mantis. The bartender, the World War II vet, looks at us, he looks at the clock, he points and he says right to Joey Ramone, he goes, last call. Joey goes, 30 Budweisers. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is when I knew that we were on the rock and roll journey of our lifetime. Here we are, 30 years later. You want to hear a song? In a lonely place? Said somewhere that one day all good things come to an end. I turn around to see you. If I do or not, it all depends. I was born in June, I met you. Lived a while when you loved me. Died a little when we broke apart. Now today doesn't mean a thing. All my hopes and dreams have shattered now. I'm in a lonely place without you. I'm in a lonely place without you. I walk the streets alone at night sometimes and think about you. I look at strangers pass and wonder how I live without your love. I was born with you, I met you. Lived a while when you loved me. Died a little when we broke apart. died a little when we broke apart.
Yeah, that means so that's it. What is it?
Andrea, on vocals. Thank you so much.
Maybe not.
Beautiful voice. Get off my stage. That was wonderful. It sounded great, didn't it?
Yeah.
At least I saw myself.
Pretty much how bad
I was telling
Like a
the nice folks who brought me over here from the hotel about my kid, my daughter Eliza, who is now 16 and a half. She's going to be 17. And she's at boarding school out in California near Ventura. And I wrote this next song for her when she was 6 years old. It's called She's Got a Way All Her Own, because she missed the boat on her dad's career. Although she can find out anything she wants to find out about me, both good and bad, by just doing a Google search or going on YouTube. It's terrible. It's like every rotten thing I ever did in the world that I didn't want anyone to know about, my kid can find out about. Just point and click. But sometimes people will post bad reviews of our albums on Amazon or something, those nasty people, and they'll do some sort of rebuttal, this scathing rebuttal to a bad review. And it's always got